It's loading.
It's thinking about it.
Okay, so now. All right. Do you hear the delay?
Says live on YouTube.
I'm just going to try to figure out how to get. Okay, so we're still live. I had to X out of the YouTube so that you don't hear our delay. All right. Okay, so we are good to go. Thank you, Becky, for joining us today. And as always, you are a huge help here at NYIB. You're such a great mentor to not just me, but a lot of the students here and a lot of the other teachers and staff. So we can't tell you how much we appreciate you in words. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
All right, so let's get to it. So you know how we do, we have our Q&As, and it helps to get a lot of things clarified because a lot of people are interested but aren't quite sure if this is the direction they want to go in. And so it's really nice. We'll give them some insight on what Oncology Spa Solutions is all about.
Perfect.
So I'm here with Becky Keene, the founder and creator of Oncology Spa Solutions that we offer here at NYIB. So Becky, for me, when I took your class, I have taken many classes over the years since I graduated. As you know, as estheticians, you are forever learning, and I will be forever learning. I learn something new every single day. So to me, it was like, okay, this is great. This is another class. I'm going to be oncology trained, and it is something that I want to learn more about. And I was just blown away when I took your class because it was so much more, and it's such a unique class. So what makes this unique? Why did you start up Oncology Spa Solutions?
Well, I really should ask you what made it unique, but I'll tell you from my point, and then I want to hear from you as well. But I started it because for a couple of reasons. One, I am a cancer survivor. And, you know, I was just reminded of this yesterday because we were doing a workshop for cancer patients yesterday virtually. And every one of them had the same question. Why is it that nobody can help me when I'm going through cancer? They went to salons, spas, nail places, and people had one of two responses. Either, I'm sorry, I can't help you, right? I don't know how, or I don't want to. I don't want to interfere with what's going on because I don't know enough. And to me, that's so sad because, as you know, because you took the class, once you learn how to work with this patient or client, you can work on them and you can help them in a time when they really, really need us. So, you know, it was really to fill a gap. It was people need us and people need us to be trained. So, you know, forever learning and learning new things all the time, adding this in allows you to be able to help every client that comes in to see you. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely. So I remember when I worked at a spa years ago, this woman came in and she shared her journey with me on how she was a cancer survivor and her hair is starting to grow back and she had surgery and chemo and radiation, and her family got her a gift card so that she can better pamper herself and be on this journey of healing, right? So
Yeah.
trying to be the best esthetician I could be, I made sure that I was giving her a very in-depth scalp massage and arm massage and using all these products. I mean, and I always feel like I'm very attentive to my clients, but I really was just making it more about relaxation than it was about fixing any kind of skin problem or issue, right? Because that seemed to be what she wanted. And, you know, when I took your class, I was like, wow, I thought I was doing so good by my client, but I didn't know to ask her if she had lymph nodes removed that I could possibly cause lymphedema. So I think of back on, I thought I was doing the right thing, but could I have possibly been harming my client, right? So whether, and now I'm more in medical aesthetics, but I wasn't at that time. So no matter where I worked, I feel that this was so important. But what made the class unique for me is it wasn't just the science of this is what you have to avoid or stop doing, or what you can do if a client's going through any kind of treatment. Right from the beginning, you were so warm and welcoming and had us go around the room and share what made us come here and what's our experience and our journey. And do we know anyone who maybe is going through treatment? And you don't realize like sometimes how you need that. You need to connect with other people in class and be able to share your experience and everything like that. So that was really nice getting to know each other, and having sort of a uniqueness to the class and going over the psychology behind it and what patients go through and when to refer them out to someone else so that you're really taking care of your client holistically.
Correct. And doing everything that you can within our scope to safely and
Absolutely.
confidently, right, work with and really help that client without having to worry about harming them, right?
Absolutely. And, so we practice infection control, right? As estheticians, we're very thorough with our infection control, but there's still some things that we need to be more cautious about, with clients. So, why do you think it's so important for us to be oncology trained? Because and it's not even if somebody has cancer, what if they have lupus, or what if they have some kind of autoimmune that their immune system is compromised or suppressed?
Right. Well, let's just say, look where we're at right now in the world.
Absolutely.
Thank goodness we know all that infection control, right? Because then
Yeah.
it wasn't so much of adding something that we weren't doing before, it was adding to what we were doing to make it even better because it's
Yes.
super important. So, the reason that's so important is because when you're working with somebody with a compromised immune system, they can't risk coming into contact with some bacteria that you or I, as a healthy person, wouldn't be an issue with. So we really need to be aware of every touch point, everything that they can touch in your spa and your salon and everything you touch. When do you wear gloves? When do you not wear gloves? These are things that we all learn. And you need to know this, especially when you're working with somebody who has a compromised immune system, which is your cancer patient. And to answer your first question is, why do you need to know this? So let's say, because I do meet people who go, I don't think I want to work with cancer patients, so I don't need to take that training.
They're gonna
And I
come in,
would say to
everybody.
them, are you going to put a sign on your door that say everybody welcome except cancer patients and or survivors? And of course they say no. Well, then you need to know this, because if you are in the spa world and you are hair, nails, skin, any of that massage, you will come in contact with somebody who has cancer or has had cancer. And so that just means that when you're trained, you know what questions to ask them again so that you can proceed and give them the best custom treatment specifically for what they're going through. So it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even if, and knowing, and it's great because you teach us the phases in the class, right? So knowing when, not saying that we can't do this treatment forever, but knowing when the appropriate time is to do this treatment. And now not saying, okay, well, I'm so afraid to touch someone that I can't take them at all. No, let me take this client in, but here's the modifications. Maybe I do need to omit extractions today because of the medication that they're on or the treatment that they just recently had, and we'll make it more about nourishing the skin. So just knowing what modifications, which are very important, extremely important. So I've learned so much with that.
Good.
Um, so yeah, so it does, and you know what's great is it does make you stand out as an esthetician because, I remember after I took this course, I, you know, told my spa that I was working at, hey, by the way, I took this course, this is what I learned, right? And I just told the front desk because I always like to share, whether it be my students or my coworkers, what I've learned and what's new. And so I was like, "Oh, cool. That sounds like a great course. Good for you." Right? Well, all of a sudden, I started getting this following, and I had a lot of clients, and they came in with the doctor's note, and who was saying this. So I went to the front, and I was like, "Are we just getting a demand recently for clients who are going through treatment or recently been through treatment?" They're like, "Well, no, we took the class. We've actually been calling for years, and we just say no, we don't have oncology services. But since you told us that, and we let them know that you're oncology trained, we just booked them with you now." And I think that's important because there are chains and they're wonderful places to work at. But what's going to make you stand out as an esthetician And it really comes down to how you can really, really take care of your client in the treatment room the
Right.
right way and not have to be nervous or refuse them.
I don't know if I said it in the class that you were in, but I always say, yes, you are going to learn how to work with cancer patients when you take this class, but you will also end up a better esthetician regardless, because you're going to learn so many more things that you can apply to every client that comes in. Or maybe it's not every client, but if you do a custom treatment to every client that comes in and not have a cookie cutter facial, that will make you stand out in our industry. And I think that's really important. You want clients to come back to you, give them individualized, personalized care.
Absolutely. And, doing like hydrofacials and oxygen AOs and things like that. And, it's more medical sometimes, right? And they're kind of in and out and they're on that half-hour lunchtime. But now what I've learned from you is start being more present and in the moment and really listening to what your client needs, whether they, again, had cancer, do not have cancer, but they could have something autoimmune. And it really helped me take care of those clients and really listen to what they need. And, a lot of energy comes off of the brain and a lot of energy is absorbed through the gut. So when your client is lying on that table and you're standing behind them, I need to make sure that my client is good and I'm listening to them and I am tailoring my treatment to their needs. Maybe it's a caretaker. Maybe they are taking care of someone who's going through treatment. And maybe this isn't the time that I need to upsell them. And I know it's a big part of being an esthetician, but this is the time that my client is telling me I need to relax. So really being more in tune with their mood and what they're going on in their life or through in their life and learning how to deal with that. I learned a lot from your class. And, I thought I had it all figured out because I've been in the industry for 10 years before I took your class. But no, you really taught me how to be more in tune in the treatment room. And that's nice. And that's not really something that's, textbook, that's really something that you guided me on. So that was really cool to bring to the treatment room.
Good. That's a key skill. And I think that, well, it's not taught in school. We are taught to, pay attention and ask questions and have an intake form. But are we really taught to listen and really hear what our clients are telling us? What do they need today? And how can I meet those needs within the scope of my license?
Absolutely. Especially too, our first step is, we have to get through state board, right? But then we have to continue our education to make sure that we are now giving optimal results in the treatment room. And which brings me to, which we'll get to further, is ingredients. We won't touch on it yet because I do want us to hear all about what you have done in the hospital.
Okay. So I currently work with 2 hospitals. And of course, right now it's a little bit different. We aren't allowed in because you can't do anything without a mask. So to be on the conservative side, hospitals are saying, yeah, no, nobody can come in. Actually, they're saying the patient and one family member, and that's it. So no volunteers. So all volunteer programs are kind of out right now, at least here in Washington. But typically what we do is we have a gift certificate program. We work within the hospital and they send their patients to us when they need a wig or when they need anything going on with their skin, or if they just need some love and some TLC. And so that has been going on for about 10 years in one of my hospitals and about 8 years in the other one. And that continues to grow. And then that's something that I share in the class and I share with you. So literally, I'm going to tell you every day I get a esthetician who's taken the course, says, okay, now I'm ready. I want to reach out to my local hospital. What do I do? Right. So that's part of our coaching program so that we can help you guys if you want to, when you're done with your class and you're done with your aesthetics license and training, if you want to work in a hospital, we can help you get there.
Absolutely. And it just shows you like all the different opportunities, right? So, and again, this goes back to, I remember I did my aunt's makeup for my cousin's wedding and I thought I was doing such a great thing because I know how to do makeup, right? I just learned it in school. And again, she was going through treatment and I didn't realize that I probably should have used a totally separate kit, right, with different ingredients, and, did it more state board style than I would using brushes and things like that because of where she was at in her treatment. So really understanding it. So even if, I'm a makeup artist and I'm doing weddings, you're going to come across, people, and which kind of brings me to my next question, like going into statistics, right? Like how many people are affected or know somebody who has cancer, or, and furthermore, somebody with a suppressed immune system.
Yep, a lot. Let's just say that. Right now in the US, we have about 600,000 deaths a year from heart attack. So that's number one. Number two is cancer, and it's right, I mean, literally right behind it. And they're actually forecasting that cancer will outpace heart attack as far as death goes in our country. So there's a lot of people. The statistics say 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women in their lifetime will experience cancer. So this is something that we all pretty much now either know somebody or, have possibly gone through it ourselves. So there is a need. Again, it goes back to
Sure.
filling a need and a gap. There's a lot of people out there, guys. There's like, I want to say 18 million people are survivors in the US as of January 2020. So that's a lot of clients, potential clients that you could reach out to. And so, we don't like to talk about this as a business proposition, right? But let me just tell you that the numbers will come if you can take care of everybody that comes in to see you. And if you're trying to build a business, why would you turn away somebody that you just don't feel comfortable working with? Figure out how to work with them. And that way you can add those people to your client base as well.
Absolutely. And I know just one of the opportunities you opened up for me is just helping to spread awareness. And you know what? Sometimes just takes about 15 minutes out of your time. So a very good client of ours that had been coming to the school and having students perform treatment on her for years, started coming as a guest when we do the oncology training on that third day. And, she asked me, can you please come? I have a coalition that I run, and can you please speak to all these women who are going through breast cancer or maybe a survivor, but we still get together and we're here to support each other. And, they had no idea about how to take care of their skin at home because the doctor doesn't teach them that. And they had no idea that maybe they need to avoid the massage when they're going for their mani-pedi. So it's not even what you're doing in the treatment room, it's you helping guide them. And that's what really gives you a long-term client, because they're trusting you with more than just what you're doing in the treatment room. And they really appreciate that. You go that extra mile. It's just a little deposit that you put out there to educate them and spread awareness. But in the long run, it's going to come back to you tenfold, because they're going to be a client that is with you for a long time and recommends other clients to you as well. And you're being such a positive, productive part of, their journey, I like to say, or their recovery, so to speak, hopefully.
Yesterday I was on a call with a doctor, and she's an oncologist, and she actually, I really appreciated this. She actually explained a little bit about the doctor's appointment that client or patient has. So when somebody has cancer, they go in to see their oncologist and they have a 15-minute appointment. Can you imagine getting all your questions answered about you? If it was you going through cancer, how do you get all that in 15 minutes? Well, that's the first problem. Okay. So they only have 15 minutes, and that 15 minutes has to be a review of their scans, what's going on with their treatment, what's their medication going to be. And the doctor actually said, we don't have time to talk to them about what's going on with their skin, their hair, and their nails. So, she really reached out and approached estheticians in her area so that she could have somebody on her team that could do that part for her patients, so that she can cover what she covers, and then we can help with the part that we know. So we're really part of that healing circle, if you can think about it that way. And so we add a lot to that patient's journey, and being able to help and making them feel comfortable in their own skin. It's important.
Absolutely. So, and typically how this goes, whether we're doing it distance, the theory portion, going through the oncology class, but either way, on that third day, when clients come in and they are cancer survivors or going through treatment, or they are the caregiver, so they're all invited in and they all share their journey. And one of the common denominators basically was that, you know, each person went around the room and they shared their journey and said, or their experience, and said, I had no idea that I had options to take care of my skin, because my doctor would say, okay, so who cares if you have a burn? I just saved your life. But now they're walking around in so much pain. And, through this oncology class, we learn how to prep them before their radiation treatment and how to treat their skin during the radiation treatment and how to heal it afterwards. And a lot of people came in and said, now, okay, great, my doctor did explain that, but they didn't tell me how it could burn the other side. And I was, well, burn, like, this is why, like, you guys explain things so much better. And thank you for reminding me. And thank you for helping me through. One woman shared that she was burnt so much that you saw her breast implant through her skin. And so if we can help prevent that, that's amazing. And they really appreciate that.
Which brings me to, so everything that we have in the training is based on evidence-based studies, okay, or evidence-based medicine. And calendula oil is one of them that has a ton of studies on it that we can use, and that's within our scope, that we can suggest that our client use that to prevent that radiation damage. And it really does work, and it really does help. And yes, they are so forever grateful to you for helping them with that.
And we use it now for all different things. Whose daughter has eczema, it's been helping. So we love the calendula oil so much. So thank you for turning us on to that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I was just going to say, I was just going to add that the doctors then go, hey, what are you doing?
Yes.
And that gets the doctor going, okay, maybe we need to take a look at that. And that's awesome.
Yep.
And you can start building a relationship with a doctor too and get referrals from them.
Absolutely. So, and that is a huge point because I do remember working in the medical spa, we didn't get recommendations at all. But again, the more we bring awareness to things, you start getting doctors referrals, and the more you educate your clients and they go back and tell their doctors, they say, hey, I heard of this spa. And I'm like, I never talked to a doctor in my life, but because he had a client who went back and said, they helped me with this, they refer back to you. Now they'll send other clients and say, hey, some of my clients have been going to the spa and they've been helping them with their skin. Why don't you go see them?
Right.
So it's really a great way to network them.
Right. You don't get what you don't ask for. And I find that a lot of estheticians are afraid to ask for that referral or ask for that. And I think the perfect time is at the end of your treatment when you've just given them all this love and pampering. And they
Absolutely.
say, oh my gosh, I love this. That's when you say, would you just share that with your doctor and tell them how much you enjoyed this or how helpful this oil was or anything like that. I mean, they'll run and tell them. And that's perfect for you because then they're going to start thinking of you and then they'll start referring clients to you.
Absolutely. I also found that they need somebody to talk to and vent to. And while we are not therapists, but you teach us when to listen and understand and be compassionate, the right things and appropriate things to say in that treatment room. Because again, when I graduated, I was prepared to do makeup and do waxing and, help improve anyone's quality of life and helping them feel more comfortable and confident in their own skin. I was not fully prepared, even if I've heard about it. It's different when you hear something than going through something. So I remember I had a woman on my table and I felt like after I took your class, like I just felt like she needed to relax. She was here on a gift card and I did the whole treatment and she cried at the end and was like, I didn't realize how I needed that. My husband passed away from cancer a few months ago, and this is what I've been going through. You prepared me to handle how to be with that client, be present with that client and be appropriate with that client and not overstep a boundary or anything like that and be compassionate to that client. So it helps
Good.
a lot. And, going back a little bit when we are talking about the skin and the doctors and the burns, a very interesting point is that, many people have actually passed away from infection and not the cancer itself. And, same thing I know goes for children with a butterfly rash, unfortunately, but you die from the infection because of the skin being impaired. So, I never want estheticians to be overlooked on how important they are and why what we do in the treatment room, even or if it's even down to makeup, why it's so important that we respect the skin's barrier and help preserve it and help make sure that it's in optimal health.
Well, we're learning a lot more about that largest organ of our body. And one thing that's come out, especially now with COVID, is that that large body, right, our skin, largest organ of our body, is actually part of our immune system. right? So it does prevent things from getting in. And yeah, we want to make sure that that structure of the barrier or the integrity of the barrier is as best and good as it can be so that we can actually protect our client in that way.
And I mean, even just educating them on the sun, like, yes, we do need our body to synthesize, vitamin D, and we get that, but encouraging our clients to practice safe sun, right? And make sure we're not wiping out those Langerhans cells that help keep our immune system going, especially when they're going through treatment. And, sometimes the doctors, they really just don't even have the time. You know, they have big fish to fry. So like you said, that 15-minute appointment, how do you learn everything? And I think what's amazing is that a lot of these doctors, and I can't tell you how many calls now we're getting lately at the school to, find the right esthetician that's going to say, hey, like, listen, this is what I do for my client, but I don't have time to talk to them about their skin. I need you to. And I need you to perform treatments. And again, going through those phases, maybe helping prep them for something, maybe helping them do certain products and ingredients and modifications when they're in a certain phase. And when is the appropriate time to now work on the melasma that they got during their treatment? So those phases are really important as to what you can and can't do. And I think that's a huge, huge part. But one of my favorite parts of the oncology class is ingredients. So I know for myself, it's hard for anybody. We can't memorize a full textbook, right? You can't memorize every single ingredient on every single box of whatever skincare line that you have or you're carrying. But what you need to know is how to read that box. And what's so interesting when we learn a lot about like the FDA and what it regulates and how you can say something's fragrance free because the FDA allows a certain amount of fragrance. And okay, so maybe it's very little fragrance and it's okay for somebody who doesn't have a weakened immune system maybe to use. But now you kind of educated us on if you're using 4 of those products that now have that fragrance in it, what can that do to your body? So really just the ingredients part to me was really, really helpful because it is something that, I struggle in. I might be able to teach laser no problem, but the ingredients, so that to me was huge. And really understanding why somebody could say, oh, this is safe for a client going through chemo. No, the FDA says it's okay, but Becky, you did so much research to find products that really are okay for clients.
Right. And that's super important because this client is already health compromised. So we don't want to guess if this is safe enough for somebody like that. We want to know that. So, our process, just so that in case somebody's wondering, is I review ingredient decks first and I kick it out if it has any junk in there or anything that could be potentially harmful or inflammatory to somebody who has compromised barrier. Then if it passes that, then it comes in and I take it into my 2 hospital groups and we use it with actual cancer patients for at least 6 months. And during that process, if one person turns red, has a rash, has a reaction, it stings, anything like that, it's out, right? So we know that we've tested them on actual clients and we know that these work. Now, does one product work for everybody? No. That would be nice if it did. But remember, there's a new skincare line every 3 seconds, they say, in the US. And I get people contacting me all the time about their products. But, make it simple. One of my grads yesterday in that little presentation that we did, she actually said a couple of things because we were doing this presentation for patients, not estheticians. So she said, concentrate on the first 5 ingredients because that's going to be the majority of what's in that product, right? And then kick out anything in all caps, right? Or kick out anything that you either don't know what it is, and I'm going to tell you, don't do that. Look it up, right? Learn what it is.
Yes.
And start learning ingredients for yourself so that you know what should and shouldn't be in a product. And then, once you learn that, so we're doing this for cancer patients or somebody with a suppressed immune system, right? But shouldn't we all be watching out for this? Shouldn't we all be using safe personal care products? I think we should.
And so I thought of that for myself because there are professional lines that, an esthetician has a benefit of being able to sell because it is more concentrated. It is able to penetrate deeper than anything you can get over the counter, right? So if somebody has melasma or severe acne or, really wants to help their aging or slow down the aging process, yes, there are certain product lines that need to be used. But now I thought, okay, for myself, because like you said, why not me? If even though I might not have a suppressed immune system, but shouldn't I want to keep my skin and my body in optimal health? So really thinking like, okay, my pigment has been bad lately. So maybe I will go on this regimen, but I don't need to be on it forever.
Right.
Cutting out my body washes and things that I've been using on my whole body and going to those safe products that we speak about in the oncology class. And I've, been using them since. And, at least I know that I'm not overusing stuff, or when the appropriate time is to take care of my skin, and when the appropriate time for me is to go more of the lines that we're talking about. Can you tell us about your skincare line?
Ooh, yes. So in the past, so for the last 10 years that I've been teaching, I've always worked with a group of product lines, right? It's because in my opinion, I always said, I know what I know, so I don't need to get into the product world, right? Well, what ended up happening is because of working with schools and because of working with hospitals more specifically, they came back to me and said, okay, we love what you have, but we are not going to order from 13 different lines. Could you please put
Absolutely.
together or find a line that has everything in it that would be safe? We could just buy from one person, right? So that set me out, and I started meeting with formulators and chemists and talking to all these people who create lines. And I finally found one who really got my vision and my plan and idea for this, which was it needs to be a line, quite simply, that is for phase 2, that will hydrate, calm, soothe, and protect, because that's what we need to do with the skin at that time for that client. Now, when they're done with that, they can transition into some of those, like you were talking about, a little bit more aggressive lines when they are ready and when their skin and their body can handle it. So during this time, it's just very simple. We've got a cleanser, so a creamy cleanser, one that doesn't have any of the sudsers or anything that's going to strip the natural barriers of the skin, because we want to cleanse without stripping the barrier protection. Then we have a skin loving oil, which is one of my favorite products. I don't know if you guys use oils yet. If you haven't, check them out. Oh my gosh, they really are a hidden secret. So this has got rose hip oil, frankincense, it's got hemp. So all of these things, so they are going to actually mimic that lipid barrier and do a little bit better job of protecting the skin for the client during that time. And then we have a hyaluronic acid serum. So again, ability to hold moisture in the skin, because one of the most common side effects for somebody going through cancer treatment is extremely dry, dehydrated skin. So we want to help them with the hydration, holding in that water. And then we finish with just a wonderful barrier cream called Hydrate, Hydrate, Hydrate. Oh, can't see it when I move it over there. Which has shea, it has a little bit of hemp. It's again has the apricot kernel. It's got really good nutrients that are going to nourish the skin without causing any dryness or any extra activity, because we don't want that right now. So that's a very basic line, and we did it. So here was the other part of the challenge. It had to be really inexpensive, because a cancer patient has buku bills, okay? The finance is off the chart, and people say they don't even look at those bills when they come, because you get a bill. Can you imagine opening your mail when you're in the middle of cancer treatment, not feeling well, opening up your mail and seeing a bill for $120,000? And that's not even the end of it. They say it's to $400,000 to $600,000 that they're spending. So this whole product line can be purchased right around the $100 range in retail, and less, of course, for those who are in the industry and can purchase it wholesale. So it's just a fabulous line, and clients are really loving it. An interesting little side note, I have nurses that are using it. I have my healthy clients who initially I gave it to my healthy clients to test it, and they love it so much they don't want to go back to their other products.
I was going to say, you get a very nice glow after those treatments. The name of your skincare line is your
Yeah, it's called O Skin Love. So,
Yes.
in
And
the
it
O,
says, I believe it says on the side, like made with love, correct?
yes,
And
yes,
I
maybe.
love that because my cousin always makes fun of me, but I always say it was made with love when I cook. So I love that your product line says that because they just feel like when you do pour your heart and soul into it, it really just, it shows, and it definitely shows in your product line. I love the packaging. I love the products.
Thank you. Yeah, intention matters, right? So when you're making this, and that's the other thing that was really important to me, who's making this formula for me? And when they're doing it, are they making it with love? And guess what? They are. And you can tell. I
Yes.
know it sounds weird. My husband thinks that's woo woo, but it
Yeah,
really makes.
so I was recently finishing out teaching a class for one of the advanced aesthetics, and one of my students said, "Can I do a presentation?" So I was like, "Absolutely." And it's so amazing. Her name is Laura. She actually took the oncology class as well, but she did this presentation on water and basically, I forget the guy's name, but and we won't go too much into it, but basically like talking to one water negative and one water positive, it actually changes molecules. So there is something behind that with somebody's cooking with your food. And again, it's that energy. And same thing when you're in that treatment room. I know when I'm in that treatment room and I'm more grounded and focused, and blocking out any negative energy, and I'm really trying to be in tune with my client. I did all the same steps. I gave them a 15-minute treatment, but the client will come out and be like, "That was just extra amazing today. That was just so good." And it's because I just had this really good intent to give off to that client, and it shows.
Being present is always important for all of our clients, but I think it's even more important for the cancer patient because they've got a whole lot of chaos going on in their world and it's in their head and they're not feeling so good when they come to you. So if you
Yeah.
actually listen and are present with them, yeah, you're going to have a client for life.
And, so just to give a kind of idea of how the course runs, there's 2 days where you're basically learning theory, but so much more. Um, And then that third day, we have a share circle where clients will come in. They will share their journey and why they're here. And then all the students will give treatments. And that first day, I was just blown away because some people actually come in and you think, well, do they not like us? Maybe you don't realize that, clients could be a little angry, but not at you. And maybe they'll project in the beginning. Um, but when you listen to them and you let them speak and you're tailoring, what your treatment to what their needs are, and you're taking the time to modify your treatment so that you don't have to turn them away or hurt them. And it was just complete silence once we got into that room after we did that share circle and you understood where that client was coming from. And that clients on the table, it was like, it was just so much peace. And then when the clients left, they were like, wow, I didn't know how much I needed this. Or I wish I had this years ago when I was actually going through the treatment. Or the woman who went through the treatment and was like, I have nobody to talk to. I have nothing. Like, this is amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I can't tell you how grateful they were. No matter what the mood was that they came in, they left just really uplifted. And it was so nice being a part of that.
Right.
And it's so nice that we have the opportunity to do that on a daily basis as estheticians who are oncology trained.
Yeah, we are. We're blessed to be in the industry that we are because
Absolutely.
really we're a feel good industry, right? We can take somebody who feels down maybe about the way they look or how they feel, and we can turn that around in the treatment room. What a great job we have. It's
Absolutely.
fantastic.
And just going through that holistic approach and knowing how to work with, someone outside of our scope, but knowing when to refer them out. And they really appreciate that holistic approach of treating their body and soul as a whole.
Plus,
So
imagine the confidence level in a client with you if you know at least something about what they're going through and have some sort of understanding and then are able to help that versus you saying, I'm sorry, I don't know how to work with a cancer patient, right? How do you want your clients to look at you as the skin care specialist, right? Who knows
absolutely.
how to help with all of these things? Yes. Now, and when we
Absolutely.
don't know, so we don't know everything. I don't know everything, even though I've been researching this for almost 12 years now. I learn new things all the time. But if I don't know something, I'm going to say I don't know, but I will find out for you. Or You know what, that's a great question. Let's ask your doctor that. So always be able to refer back to the doctor. That's super important as well.
Absolutely. Um, you do have a second course that you offer. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so you can imagine with COVID, I've had a little bit of extra time. So I'm actually put together a couple of other courses because I've had so many people ask when they want more, what's next, right? So first we have the advanced class, and that is called MBA, Mindfulness-Based Aesthetics. And we do it in a retreat center at a cancer center here in Washington. So that is where you would come after you take the initial class. If you really want to do this, this is going to be your niche. You want to learn more. We dive deeper into things like, you know, how do you help with the makeup and put that on, and what does that look like? And if you want to get into a hospital or a cancer center, what does a proposal look like? We do all of that in that class. Okay, so that's next step if you want more and you really want to work with this client and build a business that way. Or you just want to go have a retreat with a bunch of SD besties and have fun and learn some more. I have a lot of those that do.
Miss Kim took your class, that second class, and said it was just such an amazing experience. And I will hopefully get to do it one day, and we'll continue taking your classes because I do learn so much from you. And again, forever learning. As estheticians, we're forever learning. So, and now you said that you have more courses. So can you fill us in about that?
So the next one that's going to roll out, and I think it's very timely right now, is the Hope Coach program. So we're going to have, it will be online, and you'll be able to learn how to go a little bit deeper with your clients in helping with the emotional aspect. So it's kind of like a life coaching, but it's called Hope Coaching because when you're working with a cancer patient, a lot of times they feel hopeless and they're afraid. So, you know, the opposite of hope is fear. So how can we help our clients walk through that and face their journey with more confidence? And so that's going to be the Hope Coaching course. That's going to be available in January of 2021, and it'll be here before we know it.
That's amazing. That's exciting too. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So I actually had one of my students say, like, I don't know if I want to take oncology just because of where I work. So she had somebody come in, was going through treatment. She came to me, she said, "You don't know, I cried after I left the treatment room. I feel like I felt like what she was going through. I was so nervous. I didn't know how to handle it. I couldn't sleep that night because I didn't know if I treated her right or wrong." She goes, "And that was my aha moment that I need to take this class because, even though she was working actually out of a nail salon and had a room." So she was like, "I just didn't expect that." She was like, "And now I realize why I need to take it." And so again, it doesn't matter where you work or how far you want to go with it. To me, it's a necessity for most estheticians,
Well,
or if not
even
all.
if you didn't work with cancer patients, wouldn't you say that you learned at least one little gem or more that you could use in your current practice?
So much more. Again, being more in tune with your client, taking the right notes, doing proper documentation, knowing no matter where I work, some of the things that I need to omit or feel confident in my treatment room, learning more about the immune system and clients, who on a daily basis, I mean, autoimmune, the list goes on and on of how somebody could be immune compromised, right? So dealing with those kind of patients and what they're going through emotionally and how to handle that, and just being more compassionate and understanding and thinking that you're doing the right thing and saying the right thing, and realizing, you kind of have a method that is proven to work of what you really should be saying, knowing what to say instead of saying, "Did I say the right thing?" Having that all. And so, yes, it helped me tremendously.
Good. Well, and just having confidence and knowing what you're doing is the right path for that client. That's important.
Absolutely.
Again, if you feel comfortable and confident, your client's going to feel that too from you.
Absolutely. So, before we wrap anything up, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else specifically that you would like to go over or speak about. I know we covered a lot. I don't know if there's anything else you want to cover, or if you have words of encouragement to our future SDs who are going to be graduating and getting their license, to our current SDs who are out in the field, and so on.
So I'm just going to say that there is a future for us and it's going to be great. I know a lot of people are questioning that right now. I think that when we come out of this whole COVID thing, we're all going to be better estheticians. We are. And we're going to be doing things more appropriate in the treatment room. And we're not going to be sloppy when it comes to infection and sanitation and all of that, right? So we've all learned a whole lot more. And I think that once we get there, people are going to be flooding back in because, and I've heard this from so many people.
They already are calling. Please tell me when you open.
Yeah.
Please tell me.
They miss the touch, right?
Yes.
They're isolated right now, very isolated, and they need us, and they need us to be comfortable and confident and know what we're doing. So,
absolutely.
Yep. Good luck in school, you guys, and everything that you can. And when you get out, take as many classes as you can. If you really want this to be your career path, learn everything that you can about it.
Literally learning every single day something new. You never stop. It never ends, but it keeps it exciting and it helps you grow in your career, and it really helps build your clientele over the years. So thank you, Becky. I appreciate you. We all appreciate you here at NYIB. It was good to see you, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Say hi to everybody.
I definitely will. Bye.
Okay. Bye.